Alright, this is from the Film Theorists. Film Theory. The Hidden Lore of Skibidi Toilet. Let's see what they got to say.
My theory's ridiculous. Ridiculous. The hidden lore. Yes. Hidden lore. Yes.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory, the show that needs you to skibbity-dom-dom that subscribe button. Yes? Yes. If you haven't seen the astronomical rise of the series Skibidi Toilet over the last few months, get your head out of the toilet and let me tell you that no one, and I mean no one, has seen this much success so quickly on YouTube before.
I 100% agree.
The channel's creator, I can't say his name, can I?
No.
Fine. How about I make it
Also, congratulations on your retirement.
Is getting somewhere between 3 and 4 billion views a month with a
crazy.
So big they'd make Mr. Beast blush. And it's not just a lot of random views either.
Yeah, Mr. Beast needs to stick his head in the toilet and go.
Had about 1.25 million subscribers when it posted the first Skibidi Toilet video back.
Amazing.
In February. Now, just 5 months later, it's already past 20 million.
That's freaking impressive.
To say that this thing has taken over YouTube, it'd be a major understatement. In one of the episodes, one of the titular Skibidi Toilets literally destroys YouTube HQ in a not-so-subtle metaphor for how this show has broken the website. Skibidi Toilet has really taken advantage of YouTube's push for shorts content, and it has rode that wave to create a level of virality that has never been seen before. So those are the numbers, but what is it? Well, it's a head in a toilet. Yep, it's an mod animation singing a song. The internet is truly a weird and wonderful place. No, if I'm being completely serious, that's just how the whole thing starts. As the series goes on, the whole thing evolves into a full-on cinematic war between toilets with human heads and people with camera heads, complete with massive titans, mind control, and, wait for it, hidden lore. And
that's what we're here for.
Every episode of the series multiple times, getting that darn song permanently etched into my brain, what became clear to me was that this goofy meme show wasn't just about being lol so random.
The dance, I love those dances.
Remaining as an epic toilet action anime. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. Probably should rephrase that one. Instead, there's an entire meta story buried in this thing. A story about the changing world of entertainment and the fight for survival of art. Yeah, this man's face in a toilet, he's trying to teach us a profound lesson about the meaning of art. And once you see the right in front of your eyes, it becomes clear where the story is ultimately gonna end. So grab your knob toilets, plungers, and cave.
Of course, if Roger Ebert was watching this, he would say it's not art.
The fever dream that is Skibidi Toilet. Now, the details for the base story here are pretty straightforward. The whole thing starts when a man's head appears out of a toilet and starts singing a mashup of the 2007 song "Give It to Me" by Timbaland and the 2022 Turkish. But things quickly escalate from there. The toilet heads start to spread. Pretty soon we see an army of these toilets marching, or rather sliding their way down the street military parade style. They clearly pose a threat considering they run over people, they shoot lasers, they even transform humans into more Skibidi toilets. Pretty soon they've established their own cult-like religion, a police presence, they even have themselves a leader of the army in the form of the G-Man from Half-Life. For those of you who don't know, in the Half-Life games, the G-Man is described as this sinister, interdimensional bureaucrat, and he has this strange reality-bending power, so why not just throw him into a show about evil toilet men? Very quickly it becomes
So that's where G-Man comes from.
For the toilet terrors. By the time episode 6 rolls around, we pretty much stop seeing humans altogether. Enter the cameramen. People with cameras for heads. Pretty self-explanatory. But it quickly becomes clear that these characters serve both literally and figuratively as our point of view. Pretty much all episodes are shown from the perspective of one of these cameramen, often ending with the POV character either giving a thumbs up to one of their comrades or being killed at the hands of one of the Skibidi toilets. This ragtag group of cameramen have made it their mission to eliminate the Skibidi scourge. They form an organized militia, they Fortnite dance away from the police, and they form unlikely alliances with the other species that inhabit this world, the Speakermen and the TV Men, two other groups of creatures that are just here for some reason, probably better suited for a Radio Shack than the front lines. And together they plan to protect the planet from these porcelain pirates. And yeah, that's pretty much about it in terms of broad strokes. The rest of the series basically follows a fairly standard formula. Well, I mean, as standard as a show about sentient monsters from Bed Bath & Beyond gets. We constantly see the cameramen inventing inventing some new technology, such as their giant toilet-kicking boss robots. In turn, the toilets repurpose the discarded remains of their fallen foes to become more and more powerful. This cycle of escalation repeats over and over again, eventually leading to where we currently are in the story, with giant kaiju-level battles between the G-Man toilet and the various Titan robots that are created or partnered with the cameramen. And that, to 99.9999% of people, is what the story of the series is. But I'm here to tell you, it is so much more than that. The battle between the toilet heads and the cameramen is really symbolic of the battle between YouTube content and traditional medias like the film industry. Yes, I'm feeling okay, and no, I don't want your long-sleeved jacket, even though it looks very pleasant and warm. Skibidi Toilet is, at its core, a story about how entertainment is changing, and how the series creator Bouken is gonna be the one that merges those two
Bouken.
worlds together. It sounds insane, right? I know! That's why I'm so excited about this one. Let me explain it to you. As you might or might not know, this series is littered with models
Quasimodo in chat says episode 52 was out when the video I'm watching was made. Okay, this was after episode 52. He brought up the tech, and one of the things I didn't make note of is how amazing and inventive the technology got as the series went on. Just starting off with just regular old toilets to gigantic flying machines and Titans that that flashed the THX sound check, pre-movie sound check. That completely screws up the Skibidi heads. It's so inventive and so clever and very innovative execution of how they would be used and worked on. They keep getting more and more inventive along the way, and it's pretty fun. Seeing what more Grossmoff can come up with.
Sets and references to an age gone by on the internet.
This is
an age before YouTube. Yeah, for our Gen Z and frankly most of our millennials.
Is it going to Windows 97?
Didn't solely exist under the careful watch of Google and YouTube. In the beginning, the world of internet
XP
was from each other. Sites like Newgrounds, Albino Black Sheep.
Yeah, remember Newgrounds?
Memes, viral videos and animations. This is where
Newgrounds Pogs Bart. Remember Newgrounds?
Yeah, Charlie, we're going to Candy Mountain.
Not to be too internet boomer about it, but there was a time that when you saw a funny video, you'd have to send it to your
I'm an
friends
Xer, not a
via
boomer.
email. Yeah, that platform that your parents use for work these days, it used to be where you got all your lulz from, like the Numa Numa guy and I'm a Snake. And one of the biggest styles of video that arose from this early internet age was the genre that would eventually come to be known as the YouTube poop. Ironically enough, the style of a YouTube poop just predated the age of YouTube. These videos would involve taking clips or assets from TV, film, and music and just mashing them all together into an unholy stream of consciousness.
That's what we call the dark web now.
To this mess. A stray Christmas tree? A Koopa tail! Oh no, Luigi! We gotta get rid of this trash before it turns me all the way into a Koopa!
Oh my gosh, the Super Mario Brothers, Adventures of Super Mario Brothers 3.
Very different, but still very much the same. By the way, I didn't edit that clip at all. That is it unedited in its 240p goodness. Did these videos make sense? No.
Ah,
Was it
the days of
insane?
240p.
Absolutely. Did any of it matter? Who cared? Anything goes. It was the earliest days of online video. For the first time in history, you could literally make anything you wanted and upload it to a website. Anything that came out of your head. In the 80s and 90s, if you wanted to make your own
Before the
YouTube,
days
you
of the
would need a
copyright.
camera, the ability
Before
to
the
cut
days
and
of the
film,
Empire.
a platform to share your creations, all of which were either prohibitively expensive, difficult to achieve, or quite frankly just didn't exist. In the early 2000s though, free software like Windows Movie Maker opened up
Oh my gosh, Movie Maker. Oh my god, stop making me feel old.
The Wild West nature of the internet was Valve. Today they're best known for creating Steam, but back in the day, believe it or not, they used to make video games.
I think they still make video games. We're waiting for Half-Life 3.
Counter-Strike, Portal, Team Fortress, Dota. Valve
Team
dominated
Fortress.
the gaming scene, and the one game that truly embodied both their gaming ethos and their embrace of the online was Garry's Mod. Garry's Mod was a sandbox game where players could mess around with the physics, objects, and assets found in Valve's popular franchises, and then use those to create their own little movies, games, and shorts. This eventually evolved into the creation of Source Filmmaker in 2013, a video editing tool that allowed creators to more easily create funny videos just like they
This
have
is what
with Garry's Mod.
Grossmoff
And this proved to
uses.
be a godsend for YouTube poop creators. If you've ever seen a video featuring characters from Team Fortress 2 doing insane things, it's probably created using SFM.
5 nights.
In fact, Defuk Bohem, creator of Skibidi Toilet, as we all know, originally made a name for himself online by making these sorts of videos. SFM content exactly like this. I mean, unless I'm wrong, Skibidi Toilet seems like it still is being created in SFM. So why the big trip down memory lane? Well, I believe that those edgy videos...
To this day, he is still using SFM.
With internet trends, I believe that those are what the toilet heads in Skibidi Toilet represent. Look at the evidence. First, there's the fact that the characters are literally toilets. The place where you poop, like a YouTube poop. Pretty direct connection there. Second, there's the fact that the heads of all the Skibidi toilets are straight from Gary's mod, Half-Life, SFM, drawing yet another direct connection. There's also some more subtle hints as well if you look between the lines. In episode 4, there's a subtle background detail that shows how humans become toilet people as soon as they're exposed to the influence of the toilets. We pan across a normal restaurant, the toilets march in, and suddenly people are transformed into more toilets.
That's what I said.
Those toilet heads even rise through the ranks, appearing in later episodes as leaders of the toilet army.
Oh.
Of virality. The toilet people are a disease that's spreading just like a video going viral in the early days. We also know that the events of the series are happening sometime in the past. In episode 20, after going toe-to-toe against the G-Man, the camera titan flies away, flying past two very important buildings.
No.
Towers. Notice here how it's an exact
No.
right down to the spire at the top of one of those buildings. This tells us that the events of the series predate the events of September 11th.
No.
Now,
Don't.
didn't exist back then. They originated back in 2004, but websites like Newgrounds did exist back then. And Gmod videos were also big in the early internet days, like around 2006. So while it's not an exact timeline match, this toilet world isn't meant to be some dystopian future. Instead, it's much more of a dystopian past, a reference to an earlier time gone by. Also, just take a look at the way that the Skibidi toilets get stronger throughout the 50-episode series.
Yeah.
While the cameramen develop
77.
technology and techniques to get the upper hand in the battles, the toilets instead repurpose, they remix, they reuse the stuff that the cameramen leave behind. If that spirit of remixing isn't just the pure essence of what is YouTube poop, I don't know what is. And then
This is a very fascinating
you have the
take.
film, music, and television industry literally represented by audio-visual equipment, cameras, speakers, TVs. It does not get more direct than that. Who else would serve as the perfect antagonist for the literal embodiment of YouTube poop than legacy media?
Wow.
Like YouTube poops are made from reusing and rehashing content from those three industries, just like how the Skibidi toilets get stronger by repurposing the tech that they find on the camera, speaker, and TV men. Need more proof? The camera, speaker, and TV men being metaphors for the big three media industries has actually been teased throughout the entirety of the series. Back in the beginning of Skibidi Toilet, when we were just dealing with toilets and cameras, we could see a clear hierarchy amongst the ranks of the cameras. While the grunts were all the small closed-circuit TV-style cameras, the more advanced and the more movie-like the camera became, the higher up it was. The big movie studios were literally the most powerful entities. Also, take a look at how the TV Titan goes about destroying the toilets. It uses this sound.
See, THX style sound, like I said. Like I
Sounds
said.
a lot like the old THX intro sound.
It is. It is.
Furthermore, there's the main theme song that's used by the speakermen whenever they attack. That Sweet Bop is the 1985 song
Yeah,
Everybody
Tears
Wants
for
to Rule
Fears.
the World by Tears for Fears.
Everybody
So
Wants to Rule the
they're
World.
still touring. Good for them. Not only is this song very on the nose in terms of the theme for the series, two factions at war trying to rule the world, but it's also just an old song from the 80s. It's dated, just like the media it's meant to represent. in the
Yeah, those are
series.
CRT
Media that in
TVs.
the real world is actively fighting off the digital video threat. But there's something off about that, right? It feels like the series wants us to be rooting for the cameramen. In fact, there's this one scene in episode 49 that clearly establishes the toilet heads as the bad guys. Occasionally throughout the series, you'll have a character speak in some distorted voice. What's actually going on there is that they're speaking in reverse. And in that particular episode, the TV says to the toilet what sounds like, "You are so bad," when the whole thing's reversed and cleaned up. But there is no world where we should be rooting for traditional media, right? Especially when you're talking about a digital series. I know the show's odd, but the idea that we're supposed to be sympathizing with some of the least sympathetic industries on the planet seems like a step too far. Meanwhile, we're supposed to dislike the internet video side? I mean, the series got popular because of internet videos. Spoiler alert, singing meme face in a toilet? Yeah, that's the kind of thing that would never happen in a world of TV or film. We are...
That's actually fascinating. That's a very fascinating take there. Because at that time, that was before the apocalypse happened. The first apocalypse happened. This was when the DMCA, this was the time period this is supposed to be set. This was when the DMCA happened, and the apocalypse was was right around the corner. The YouTube, well, let's see. Once YouTube came on in 2005, everything ramped up, and all sorts of content was being spotted up. Like back in that 2000s when YouTube came out, we ended up with Angry Video Game Nerd when he was known as the Angry Nintendo Nerd. He brought the rise of the Angry Critic. Then there was, of course, YouTube videos like what's his name? Chocolate Rain, the song Chocolate Rain, Star Wars Kid, Tron Guy. Those were starting to rise, and it even hit a point where, was it Conan O'Brien who was bringing in Tron Guy on his talk show? I think it was Conan O'Brien who was bringing in. Not yet. They're gonna do that at the end of the show. Welcome to the show, to the live stream, Dem. I'm gonna be doing the episode at the end to close out the live stream. I'm checking out Film Theorist right now. But how you say? That's a very fascinating take. That's a very fascinating take. In my how you say? How you say? It makes a lot of sense. You know, I'm sure. Well, according to MatPat, of course. According to MatPat, I'm not sure if that was Gerasimov's artistic intent and approach, but this hidden lore is very interesting. If we remember the history of the internet in 2000s, prior to DMCA and the Adpocalypse, it almost comes off like that. Because remember that the Apocalypse was the legacy media, the movie industry, the recording industry, pushing back because at that time, we were playing movie clips and songs, television clips, without any fear of reprisals, copyright claims and such. But then the second YouTube started monetizing the whole thing and PewDiePie blew up, that's when the Apocalypse reared its ugly head, and the DMCA wound up happening as well, and that's how we ended up with this mess with the copyrights. So this is if this was artistic intent from Gerasimov, then he truly made Skibidi Toilet a work of art. It truly is if that is what his intent is, as MatPat is theorizing here, then Gerasimov really came up with a wonderful work of art. To be able to hammer the sort of like a historical fantasy kind of thing of the internet versus the legacy media type of thing. This is pretty cool. If that's the case.
Clearly missing some sort of key point here. We have our two sides clearly established, but who or what exactly are we supposed to be rooting for here? Well, that, my friends, is where the most recent episodes come in. At the end of episode 47, we see a G-Man toilet destroy the POV cameraman, just like we've seen him do in many other episodes before. But then, through the lens of our fallen camera, we see someone coming into frame. And it's not just anyone, it's a person. We haven't seen a human in the series for literally dozens of episodes, and yet, out of the blue, a person appears? And it's not just any person either. This character looks an awful lot like Defuk's channel avatar, doesn't it? Like I mentioned earlier, humans didn't really play much of a role in this franchise prior to this very moment. In the beginning, humans were just cannon fodder for the toilet overlords, but now we have one of these humans. In fact, the human who's making the series inserting himself back into the narrative. And not just here, he's also hidden indoors during the opening seconds of episode 45.
Oh.
Why? One does not simply self-insert their avatar into a $2 billion
there he
series
is.
so lightly when the story is
Wow,
so
he's
deep
that
and
hidden?
unless you have a greater role to play in the story you're about to tell. Defuk clearly has a love and passion for this style of video. Before Skibidi exploded, he had created dozens of videos in his SFM YouTube poop format. In fact, his two most popular long-form videos on his channel are still to this day SFM animations that he made years ago. That being said, I also don't think he totally dislikes the world of TV, movies, and music either. Why would he make them the protagonists of his epic internet series if he did. I think Defuk, like many other creators, aspires to do this work on a professional level. And you can tell that desire for a professional, higher caliber of work in the way that he's
I
handled the
assume
Skibidi
that's stock
Each
footage.
episode has seen an escalation of the animation, the character work getting better, the ideas bigger and grander. He has literally turned what started as a YouTube poop into an epic action movie that hangs with some of the best content that I've seen this year. So what gives? What is the story that he's trying to tell us through Skibidi Toilets? Well, to me, it's clear from the story that's laid out in front of us that Defuk sees himself quite literally in the middle of these two loves of his that are currently at odds. Notice what
Interesting.
he's doing throughout the series.
Interesting.
So far. He's picking up the broken remains of the camera heads, the broken remains of traditional media. Creators like Defuk got into making this kind of content on the internet not just because it was fun and easy, but deep down, they wanted to emulate the TV, film, and music that they enjoyed consuming. Defuk wants to take the elements that make the new and old media so great and fuse them together. He is the merge point. He is the next step in the evolution of the I mean, look no further than Skibidi Toilets. The series starts off as a simple gag that latched onto a viral internet meme in episode 1. But by episode 50, suddenly we have cinematic camera changes, complex sound design, dazzling visuals, and special effects that
really
feel like they belong more in the
would
MCU
prop
than
him up
YouTube
like
poop.
that. He
Skibidi
wasn't the
Toilets
first.
isn't an epic takedown of toxic internet content or the corrupt industrial bigwigs at the studios. Instead, it's evidence that these two things can commingle. These two titans of entertainment can coexist together and be stronger as a result. That the best of both worlds can be brought together for the greater good of entertainment. So, where does this franchise end up going from here? Well, we have ourselves our new protagonist in Defuk, who will eventually take center stage, taking it upon himself to save the world that he loves, the worlds of internet memedom and mainstream media. He's gonna turn out to be the Neo of this universe. He is the chosen one. He'll be the one who'll be able to marry both sides of this war together and show that if the two sides put aside their differences, they can create something truly magical. Or who knows, maybe you'll get a movie deal out of it. And then truly, you've had the merging of the worlds. But hey, speaking of blending ideas from multiple industries into one magical product, I want to thank our sponsor.
Okay, that's good enough. Oh my gosh, that was a fascinating take. Yeah, the video's outdated, but the take is pretty interesting, except for the part where he's like saying that Gerasimov is bridging the gap. A lot of people bridged the gap way before him. And most definitely now with VisiPop already, like VisiPop and others, then you have the odd ones out. They have a tabletop game. Then you got Mr. Beast, who's got a whole franchise of Mr. Beast products, for better or for worse. VisiPop has a Netflix. Lackadaisy is trying to get picked up. The creators of Lackadaisy. Then you got Murder Drones and Amazing Digital Circus. Let's see. Quasimo in YouTube chat says Matt Pat predicted the Astro arc where the Skibidi Toilets and the Alliance unite. She says, from what I see, this video pretty outdated in terms of episodes being shown, but Matt Pat's take on the lore is pretty interesting, and that up-to-date reasons why the fuck boom appears in secret is simply because he's the leader of a fourth secret faction. His character is referred to as a secret agent. He's our secret agent, most definitely. Well, as of now episode, now where we're at, it seems to be, they seem to be more like a resistance, rebellion kind of thing. Quasimo says it's not really much of a faction based on what we've seen for now because there are only a few known employees of the secret agent. Let's see here. So, yeah, if Gerasimov's intent with his storyline was to be a metaphor of what happened with the adpocalypse and the early 2000s of YouTube, then we got ourselves a great piece of art here. We got ourselves a good piece of art because it has some substance, it has meaning. It's a wonderful meaning, and it makes a lot of sense when you consider how the factions are separated. Although I think Matt Pat it's a little bit on the stretch there, really stretching it with the folk boom being the bridge between both worlds, because we've already seen a lot that already bridged the gap. I mean, James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd alone, he was able to do his own film, his own movie, the angry video game nerd movie. He got it screened in a movie theater and got it on DVD. And South Park did a whole episode of YouTube poop back then with the Star Wars, that whole episode where they were trying to make 1 million hypothetical dollars, and they were showing, and they had Butters doing what in the butt, so they could score that free money. The early days of monetization with PewDiePie stumbled onto that algorithm and made everybody's eyes shine dollar signs and think they could all be PewDiePie without understanding what got PewDiePie where he was at. Oh man. Yeah. I think that's all I could formulate. But it was a great take on that one, especially for the first 50 episodes. But now that we know where Gerasimov is at this point, it's just pretty impressive. It's very amazing. The the advancements of the characters' technologies and so on. The story grew. The story grew really nice. It grew very nice. It really had great characterizations, especially without the emotional faces and such. It's pretty good.